So I'm Harold Zakon, class of '81 from NB&B. I'm at the University of Texas in Austin right now. From '74 to actually December '80, but my degree is '81. Well, first I'll tell you how I found NB&B. When I was in college, and I went to a small liberal arts college in Vermont called Marlborough College, I decided that I wanted to try doing research. So I went to Boston, where I was from, and I very luckily found a job at Mass General Hospital in the psychiatric research ward. And I was reading, and I was working on a question of rat behavior, but I was reading Nico Tinbergen's book, The Herring Gull's World, and other books by ethologists, and I began getting interested in what animals really do. So I picked up a copy, I think it was The American Scientist, about the work of Tom Eisner, Robert Pranica, Ron Hoy, and some other people, and I noticed they were all at Cornell. And I said, I need to go to graduate school at Cornell. And I ended up going there, and it was really a defining time for me. Well, I think it depended where you sat on the spectrum. First of all, in Langmuir Lab, we were all on the same floor. We were not segregated by floors, as seems to be the case in MUD. So there was much more fluidity. And those of us who were in the "and" part, in the middle, who were truly integrative, really could interact with people on either side and see the value of it. But I also do remember colleagues working on either end who either had no interest or no understanding. So there were some who were very focused on their question or their level of analysis, mainly because they were so excited about their field. I think there were others like me in Bob's lab, in Ron Hoy's lab, certainly Jeff Kamhi's lab, that were more integrative, and we could see the importance of integrating all the levels. So for me, it was like breathing. Well, it's a little difficult these days.
Why?
Funding is getting more difficult. Positions are competitive. I mean, it's always been that way, but it's, I think, gotten more difficult. In some ways, I think the model that I enjoyed and that I still use in my lab, and the way things were in NB&B, may be less prevalent these days, and that is, you have students who think of their own projects, who are intellectually very independent, and you may run a lab where people work on very different things. And these days, more and more, there are large collaborations, large labs, where projects are pre-specified in terms of your dissertation. And I find my dismay at how for example, in our program, students are focusing down to a smaller and smaller area of research, literature, and they're not as broadly trained as they used to be. But if you look at the massive amount of literature there is, it's so hard to be broad. And I grew up in a tradition of breadth and appreciation of other fields, and I feel like the current rush for funding and huge literature makes people more narrow-minded in what they do. So I think and different fields are different, but I do think students have to have a balance between just what excites them and the practicality and the big picture of where they want to go eventually in terms of a job or postdoc. And as we heard today, a lot of the great things happen serendipitously, so you can never predict, but you need a plan.